Alright, people. What's up, kids, bitches, whatever you want to call me. Or want me to call you. Today we are still back. We got rained out. We got torrential rain yesterday, so had to stop on this job for a moment. This is the 2004 BMW. This is a 645. This is the coupe. Anyhow, what you think all the six, that was all coupes. It was either convertible or non-convertible. Anyway, this is a 4.4. We're a couple little quick pro tips on this. Is we're doing the valve cover gaskets. Pro tip number one, don't drop anything. It's a fucking pain in the ass to get shit out. But number one, to get that fucker out, you gotta pull that heat shield dampener on the backside. You cannot do this without pulling that out. To get all of that out and get the clearance for the right side valve cover, you have to even remove the bracket that goes right here, which is right there, and loosen your wiper assembly. At that point in time, you should be able to slide this out. Please be careful. There's a sensor back here, and I actually kind of broke off a little piece of plastic on it. I was not happy about that. Should be fine. Its parts stick us out. But anyway, so if you don't do that, you also are going to want to have your power cable not only disconnected. In my situation, I put a rubber hose on it so that it wouldn't ground out to anything. But there's a little sleeve plastic thing, a little plastic nut right here holding this little cover. You're going to want that. You just need as much freaking clearance as you can get in this situation. I've already put the new valve cover back on, or valve cover gasket in, and it's already down. But the rest of these pro tips, and these are things that you're probably not going to be aware of, and ignore this little thing. It's a little fucking thing hanging off my cell phone. It's part of the lock. So if you see that and it fucking annoys you, well, click on somebody else's fucking video, you freeloader. Down here we have these three bitches right here. There are two different size nuts. There's the ones right here on the bottom, which are shorter, and the ones on top, which are longer. I wish they were all fucking longer, because let me tell you, getting those bottom ones in there, the first one, easy. You can just press right in. The next three are a motherfucker. Like, they are hard, because you can't just push in. You basically have to compress the little gasket grommet thing here, and it's hard. I mean, you can do it right here because it is rubber, but it's hard to do. It does not like to compress at all, and because it doesn't like to compress, well, trying to get the thread started on that nut, because there's a stud that comes out of the block. Those are not bolts, those are studs and nuts. Anyway, you end up with a situation where you're working really, really hard to try and do it and not cross-thread the cocksuckers. So there's that little tip. Next little tip, these little fuckers, little grounds for your coils. In my situation, both of them stripped out almost immediately. I had to grip them with vice grips to remove. And there isn't a lot of room for vice grips in there. You do what you can, but it took me a minute to do it. I eventually did successfully get them out. Now, how did I solve this problem? I hope you enjoyed that view of my neck I'm sure you just got. Well, here's what I'm doing to put them back in. Now, I'm in the field. Now, most people have a shop, or you're doing this in a garage. You just run to the auto parts store if you're getting the old ones out. These are little tiny Torx. I forgot what size they are. I want to say T25 probably. Could be wrong. Anyhow, mine stripped out both of them right away with minimal effort, and I used the correct tool. I even tapped it into the Torx thing. What the fuck? Why won't the hell this thing focus? Cocksucker. Anyhow, now what I'm doing here is I held it in the vice grips. Once they're out, I hold them in the vice grips like this. Take handy dandy battery powered angle grinder, and I put a really fucking ugly slot cut in there, and then used a big old screwdriver to screw them in with as much torque as I can possibly get. And that allowed me to reuse them, just slot cut them. Torques, I've ran into this a bunch of times over the years, rebuilding turbos and stuff like that. They just strip out too freaking easy. I don't know why they use them. Fucking Germans, you know, Japanese, all kinds of motherfuckers use these cocksuckers, and well, I don't think they're any good. Nobody gives a fuck what I think, though, do they? So there's that tip. The last tip, and I talked to my buddy Amir about this. He's a guy, BMW tech, or he was a BMW tech. He went to school for it down in their school. They paid for his schooling to go there. These are your variable valve solenoid motors, or solenoid motors. Just a worm drive. Now, when I first popped this out, unexpectedly, I thought I was going to have to unscrew it, but I really wasn't sure. But no, as soon as there was no tension, I released all 4 bolts to hold it down. This fucker went bink and shot up out of there, and I'm like, oh shit. I had a moment of oh shit moment. To put them back in, at this point in time, your variable valve timing secondary cam system is in its resting position, which would be with that all the way out. Good news is, here is how you put this in. Just screw the cocksucker down. In my situation, I marked them so that I would know what the orientation is, and that's only for the plug on the top. Where this is located is irrelevant. It's just a fucking motor. It goes in, it goes out. There isn't any set position for that. There is, however, a set position that is determined by the sensors in the back of the cylinder head. So when you turn your key, when you've completed the job, you're all done, before you start the car, put the key into the on position, let it sit there for about 30 seconds. I might actually do this process like 3 times so that I think that they've actually reset to 0 setting, and then you should be able to start the car and you should be okay. However, after talking to Amir about this for about 10 minutes, he said that he's only one time out of a few times doing these seen where it actually required you plug into the computer and had to do a factory reset of the system. He used some technical terms that I didn't freaking quite get, but whatever. That's the summary of it. But as far as this thing goes, it just screws this, boom, right about there, and it's now screwed in. Now I'm going to put a little, I'm going to actually unscrew that. I'm going to put a little bit of silicone, or I'm sorry, RTV Ultra Black around that O-ring, because the valve cover gasket did not come with a new O-ring for that right there. It did come with this big grommet right here. The big grommet for this plate that this thing mounts to. The way to do that is put a little oil all the way around it, set it in place, set your mounting plate, that's this son of a bitch, and then there are 4 screws. In fact, I can even show you them screws. Look at this. Looks like I know what I'm doing at this point. There are 4 screws. You use these to gently, one at a time, couple turns, it'll push itself into that grommet. Those grommets were fucking tight. You were not going to just press it in by hand. I thought you would. I would figure you just press it in and it would. Nope, it didn't happen that way. So use those screws to drive it in. May or may not be the right way. It's the way I did it. I don't expect a problem though. So hopefully this helps somebody. But yeah, you gotta have all this top shit off on here. On maybe some of the 7 series you don't need to, but I think you actually do. So hopefully y'all haven't run into less trouble than I got. Now I gotta do number 2. I haven't done this fucker yet. So peace out, bitches.